Hey everybody, and welcome again to another Hot Streak video. Today we're going to be playing some Illidan on Tome of the Spider Queen. Looks like our team's set up pretty well between a Tyrande, Jaina, Zagara ranged backline, while our tank department is obviously lacking, hopefully with enough support from Tyrande and Rhaegar. I can kind of make up that deficiency. The enemy team as a composition is much better than ours overall, featuring much more consistent tankiness and damage and healing. But hey, whoever said life was easy, so we might as well practice putting in effort, because we'll stop when we die. Because the confines of Tome of the Spider Queen are a very small map, it's a very effective style of gameplay that focuses on a more a roaming, aggressive type style of game. As a result, we're going to be focusing on pushing the waves as hard as we can, and then rotating between the waves with our allies in the side lanes and hopefully picking up some kills. Rhaegar with us isn't amazing, and we currently have 2 AFKs, so you know, there could be better starts, all things considered, but it could be worse. It could be 3 AFKs. Oh no, boys. Okay, cool. And we're out. It's very important in situations like that to generally wait for the enemy to show, particularly if you're in a disadvantageous lane setup. A solo Illidan is something that constitutes a disadvantageous lane setup. Tyrande and Jaina are both back, so we should be able to play a pretty reasonable regular game here. Gonna get some harass onto Nubarak, because we're simply able to. He doesn't have a relatively high damage output, so we are able to, as a result, get some nice damage on him. And on Tyrande as a result. That's okay. Nice damage though, otherwise. Cool. There's 2 for 1. We do end up going down to the Valor, but that's okay. We do end up picking 2 kills for 1, and a lot of pressure on the Valor as well, and we don't lose too many gems, which is great. That situation could have potentially been avoided if I'd chosen to go with the 1-0 and Nubarak kill. It was probably worth it overall to just stay with the 1 Nubarak kill, because once we got the level advantage with the Nubarak kill, my eventual death was worth more than the 1 for 1 trade that followed. As a result, you know, minor things, some awareness of the map possibly could have led to us being in a better position, as we could have known that the Valor was coming. We do end up picking the Valor up, which is great. I'm going to learn from my previous mistake, but if Tyrande does come out too far, we are going to definitely go aggressive on her. You can obviously use evasion to dodge towers, so if we are going to go under turrets for some damage, I do generally like to have evasion up before I do so. We see that Nubarak's quite far pushed mid, so we are going to use that as a opportunity to get some aggressive. That's not how I expected that interaction to work, but that's a-okay. My bad. 2. Rotate back top, focus on keeping up the soak and dodging abilities with W. It is of course important to know when you are in a risky situation and adjust your position accordingly. Positioning is extremely important on Illidan, who is obviously a melee carry, similar to Sonya in the regards for his incredible damage output. However, he's obviously notably less tanky than Sonya, particularly against heavy ranged comps, which their team does currently frequent. As a result, our best bets later on will probably be, if we can maintain a solid level advantage, we will be able to dive pretty aggressively on the carries, which will be great. Ooh. Cool, we do end up picking that kill, that was great. didn't end up actually seeing that coming up on the minimap, just kind of took the opportunity as it presented itself. Anubarak. That's okay, that's okay. Cool, we're in a solid position. We do have first aid as well. Just to, again, keep maintaining that soak, we are going to keep heading back up top. Taking first aid at level 7 is very important because once you get higher and higher up in terms of the MMR system, you recognize the fact that Illidan's passive damage output, without talenting for it, is extremely powerful. As a result, you actually end up doing more damage overall by avoiding speccing for damage talents and going for defensive ones, because the longer that you are alive, the more damage you output, obviously, overall, and you will, I guarantee it, end up putting out more damage if you go for a defensive build. Despite how counterintuitive that sounds. You can attribute that primarily to the fact that Illidan's base damages are just exceptionally high. And while damage talents increase the burst damage of Illidan, notably, because his sustained damage output is his primary form of damage, that is what makes his similar health sustain much better. I'm unsure where the enemy players are, so I am just going to play safe and back off, despite the fact that I could have gone aggressive on that Tyrande, and just focus on double soaking lanes as safely as I can. Need to be a tad careful here because we don't know where Tyrande is. There she is. Are going to get on the Lyric because he has no primary forms of escape, so the damage on him was more worthwhile than it was on the Anubarak, who would probably be able to burrow charge away from any damage that I was able to put out. So in that situation, that is my reasoning for choosing to target the the Lyric over the Anubarak, despite their notable proximity. We are going to try and get some damage on this Artanis, but we are going to focus more importantly on peeling for our Tyrande. However, it doesn't work out as well as we would like to. Tad of a risky play, and that's just a-okay. Jaina is now coming in a potentially risky fight. We shouldn't be fighting here. We are obviously a man down, and we should just instead focus on maintaining a very solid XP soak. As soon as Rhaegar passes the middle lane fort, I am going to rotate down, as that is when our aggressive potential is present, particularly because that'll cover up the time that it takes for Anubarak to rotate from bottom. Unfortunately, the enemy players do not put themselves in a position where they are vulnerable to a team fight. Are they trying something sneaky here? Whenever you see that, it's obvious that Tyrande's ultimate is going to... What's it called, actually? Shadowstalk has gone out, and akin to its name, you are then in a position where the stealth of Tyrande's ability itself can put your team in a negative position if the enemy team are allowed to jump on you. Going to Metamorphosis here. Get some incredibly good damage onto Tyrande. She goes down very quickly. If you can, it's always important to try and use first aid within the period of Metamorphosis, as obviously since you have more health from the passive in the ability, you will be able to regain more health with first aid because it is percentage based. Jaina will be soaking bottom. We probably should have rotated top there. Bit of a silly play from us. We might miss out on an experience from a minion or two. It's no big deal. I'm very close to dying there. Play a little bit riskily for some extra tower damage that doesn't really amount to much. It's no big deal. It's a pretty bad Purify Beam from Artanis. Definitely didn't achieve much. So we are in a pretty solid position to fight. And we would hopefully try and catch people through rotation. However, it doesn't look like we will, and that's okay too. Oh. No, we won't end up picking him up either. As a result, we are going to rotate back top. Try and get some nice Illidan damage. By Illidan damage, I meant Lyric. I'm such a silly Billy. Giant Killer at level 13, particularly against a team comp like this, which is based around some high health heroes like a Nubarak, Artanis, and Lyric. Pretty obvious choice. Hopefully with Jaina here. That's okay. I would have obviously followed Lyric's Spectre with his Spectral Walk, because you want to be in a position where you are where he's going to be, as opposed to cool. Alright, we were obviously a pretty prolonged team fight there. A couple of decisions. I saw that the front line had ran past me, which is why I chose to run directly onto Vala and attempt to pick her off, particularly with the Metamorphosis. I saw that the Tyrannus-Stun was being used, and because it hadn't gone out yet, I decided to save a charge of Sweeping Strikes to use as a defensive mechanism against that. Although using it offensively wouldn't have been a bad idea either. The weakness of our comp is starting to show through a little bit, as we don't have an amazing front line with which to lock down the enemy team. But hopefully here we can get some solid damage output, and we do. I'm going to stay right here on this Valor. That's not how I expected that to work. Cool, do end up picking her up as well. Gonna first aid here. No need to Metamorphosis. I'm gonna focus back on auto-attacking my way back to cooldowns. And we do have a number of gems, which might be worth it to see the potential for some pretty strong Tyrande damage here. Do end up picking up back kill as well. She came out a little bit far outside the turret. A lot of people do underestimate how safe they are under the turrets. Turrets have obviously recently been nerfed in terms of their damage output. Beyond this, this is not League of Legends. Turrets are not as strong as they are in other MOBAs like Dota or League. I'm not particularly sure what this Artanis is doing. He actually is currently unable to duel me. We end up picking up him too. Just going to focus on this tower damage now. Get some nice extra experience. Again, Blood for Blood is very powerful because we are versing some high health heroes. As a result, that ability is not only able to do more damage, but also to keep us alive more, which it also achieves on the basis of its merit as a health stealing ability. Again, that focus on survivability instead of damage for Illidan will ultimately lead to us being able to output more damage, particularly with percentage-based abilities like Giant Killer, despite, again, the counterintuitive nature of that fact. Gonna rotate to push top and just focus on beating up this gigantic spider. Would never do that in real life. Kids, don't do that at home and sue me. Would really appreciate that. There's potential for a fight to brew mid. There's a consideration that I had to potentially bait boss, but ooh. What we do have on here is a very greedy Nubarak, who ends up dropping a lot of coins. Alright, that went phenomenally well for us. I think we can get a quick boss here and pretty much make it a game, to be honest. Obviously evasion taking a boss with Illidan is very powerful. Still important to make sure that you don't get hit by those AoE stuns from the boss themselves, as the evasion does not stop that from hitting you. Cool. So not only are we going to pick up this boss, we're also going to pick up the web views now with a pretty simple turn in, and going to be in an incredibly strong position to push and take the game. Do get up stunned by Tyrande. That's unfortunate, but no big deal. I was gonna say if that hit me, then I actually would have been a little bit rustled in the Jimian area. All right, cool. Do end up picking up the Tyrande kill there. And the Kael'Thas kill. Hopefully we can end up picking. Valor goes down as well, and ultimately that should pretty much be the game. Lyric is going to respawn in a risky position. Alright, we're safe here. Alright, we should in this situation now back out. We've got a very strong lead, so it's plenty alright for us to back out and regroup. Very important to learn to not overextend past your limits, particularly when you're in an advantageous situation. There's nothing wrong with taking an advantage and leaving it at that. Nothing at all. Alright, if we get a good solid position for Metamorphosis, we might do it again. And we do end up picking up Tyrande. Hopefully, gonna get on the Valor here. End up taking out Valor too. And that's a pretty clean game. We should be like hitting the core in this situation, but I'm not overly stressed about it. I think we will have enough time, no matter what, to take out the core. Do end up getting a nice Nubrak kill as well. Gonna do a little bit of shameless plugging, because I'm a bad person. But also, because dollar bills, y'all. And GG. That's a quick guide for an Illidan match in Tome of the Spider Queen. Again, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you learned up a thing or two from the video, and hopefully see you guys soon. Take care. Hot streak out. Have a wonderful day, and see you in the Nexus soon.